Welcome to the 20th episode. Yeah, the 20th episode of Sports Spectrum's weekly slant, something we started way back in September with Clyde Christensen, coach there for the Buccaneers, who's still playing in the playoffs, and through high school players and college coaches and NFL coaches and players and retired players. It's been a heck of a year and a heck of a journey, hearing so many testimonies on and off the field. And that's exactly what Sports Spectrum magazine does as well. Let me remind you to go to sportspectrum.com. You can go right there. You can see right now Monty Williams is on the current issue. This spring, Adam Wainwright of the Cardinals will be featured in the magazine. Go to sportspectrum.com and use the code SLANT20, and you can get 20% off Sports Spectrum magazine, which is an incredible resource for all of us to be encouraged, much like this show has encouraged me over the course of this season. And you're going to enjoy this next conversation. I've just got a smile on my face because it's not too often we talk long snappers. It's not too often, unless they screw up, that the broadcaster ever talks about a long snapper. But tonight, long snapper Reid Ferguson of the Buffalo Bills, who's still playing, and is going to join us. And awfully kind of him. Midweek, playoff week. They go to Kansas City this weekend. And Reid's got a tremendous story of his journey of being a long snapper, of how his grandpa notices him on the football field. I think you'll get a chuckle out of that one. But like many of these episodes over these 20 weeks, it's football, it's faith, it's a deeper understanding of why we play this game. And Sports Spectrum Weekly Slant, long snapper, the first, definitely not the last, coming your way right now with Reid Ferguson. Well, as I said at the start of the show, congratulations, Reid. You are the first long snapper in the history of Sports Spectrum's weekly slant to make it on the show.
That's a big honor. I'll wear that with badge of honor for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Cool thing. Yeah, you got it, man. Thank you. And what a win over the weekend. Just I guess we start there. Can you paint the picture of what Saturday night was like in Buffalo, New York?
Yeah, that was I was funny story. I was talking to my wife a couple days prior, and we kind of thinking ahead to the game. And I just kind of asked her, I was like, we've been together for this is our third season that we've been we're married now. We dated for 2 years, and or I guess we're married for 2 seasons, dating for a year. But I said I'm not sure if I will have ever seen an environment like what we're gonna see Saturday night. Like I tried to list out, like, what are the top 3 home environments that I've seen in Buffalo. And like the season opener this year against Pittsburgh was electric. We lost, but it was phenomenal because we had a great season last year, but we couldn't have any fans till the playoffs. And even when we went to the playoffs, we had like 6,000 fans at both games. It just wasn't obviously wasn't the same. So the first game this year, and maybe a couple primetime games in the past years, but that game Saturday was something special. And I'm obviously happy for the team. Like, it was a great win, great to do it kind of in that fashion, obviously given the historical relevance of the two teams, but I'm happy for the fans. I mean, first time since I think the early 90s run since they've hosted a home playoff game with full attendance. So that was, I was looking forward to it all week. All the guys were. I mean, it was a blast. It was a blast. It made it a little less cold. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it was like -6 or something out there. It was freezing, man. And I was standing by the heaters all game, but when you're winning by, you're up by a couple touchdowns the whole game, it makes the cold a little more bearable.
That's saying something, Reid, because you were in Buford. You went to Buford High School, big, huge powerhouse, amazing high school atmosphere. I think one of the better high school atmospheres in all of high school football across the country. And then you go to Baton Rouge. So you're from Buford to Baton Rouge to Buffalo. And I have seen that scene. I've called some games at LSU over my years. Yeah. And I tell people it's like the Star Wars bar. Like, it is an amazing electric scene. So not only your years in Buffalo, but even compared to your years at Buford and Baton Rouge, Saturday night was still that special.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. I mean, I mean, like you said, high school was, it was a great atmosphere in its own right. You take that next step to college and you're in front of 105,000 or whatever the full capacity down there in Tiger Stadium is. That's an unreal feeling. I mean, the first time you run out of the tunnel, but I think, Buffalo in its own right, for those that have been to a game there, it's very, the stadium is not, we're 25 minutes south of downtown Buffalo. We're in, it's surrounded by a lot of neighborhoods and residential areas. I mean, this is home for these people. This is home for these fans. For me, for the past 6 years, it's special, and it's kind of got that college environment to it, where it just feels special to everybody, and it's a little less. I don't even know what the right term is, but it's a little less. I want to say a little less professional. I don't even know if that's the right word, but it feels like everybody's in it together. You know what I mean? You kind of a little less corporate, maybe that's the word.
Yeah.
So these people bleed red and blue here, and it's something special, and I love playing here.
LSU fan base versus Bills Mafia. Characterize those two.
Man, one cooks gators on the grill and one jumps through tables. I mean, they're both crazy, and I love both of them. It makes playing for them that much more fun. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, are they? You've gotten a chance to play in this league now for a number of years. Congrats on your extension during the season, to be there at least 3 more years. As you do travel around, right? As you do get a chance to play in some of these NFL venues, and I think that corporate word is the right word. Some of them feel very businessy, very corporate-y. You get to Buffalo, it does. Like Green Bay, it feels like a collegial atmosphere. Just how incredible is that? You painted the picture a little bit, but if you could take it even further, a little bit more depth, what an offseason is like, what it means to be a Buffalo Bills player in that community there with that fan base.
Yeah, I think so. Last offseason was my wife and I. It was the first time we had stayed because she was pregnant. She was pretty far along by the time the offseason came along, and she didn't want to be traveling back and forth between Houston, and she liked her doctor here. So we just decided to stay all the way through until OTA stuff in April rolled around, and I just told myself, I was like, all right, we're doing this. We're staying for the offseason. And I bought a snowblower, and that was the step. And I told myself, I was like, I feel like a Buffalonian now. I was like, I feel like I'm one with the community. I've got a I'm getting out here. I'm snow blowing my driveway, once a week when it snows. And I was just telling Jason before the show, like he's obviously in Connecticut. He got like 5 or 6 inches. He said. We got almost pretty much a foot here, and it's still coming down. Like I was snow blowing this morning before going in for a workout. Like it's part of the community up here, and I think that's what makes it feel special is just blue collar people, hard hat every day, going in, grinding, and cheering for the Bills on Sunday. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Tell me about the group of men in your chaplain, who I know is a dynamic, unselfish, incredible human being there in Buffalo. Why don't you tell me about your team, your group, your chaplain, and what the season has been growing with those men off the field in your walk with the Lord?
Sure. Yeah, we have a great group of believers on the team. Lynn, when he came in with Coach McDermott and Brandon Bean a couple years ago, I immediately connected with him. I didn't have I wish I had a better relationship with the prior guy, but he was not a true chaplain. So it's kind of, it's not totally fair, but Lynn kind of came in guns blazing. We have couples night on every other Thursday throughout the season, where couples get together and we go through, different, he's got different courses for us, obviously, than we cover during chapel with the regular team. But we got couples group every other week. We got Bible study on Monday, chapel the night before the game. It's it's been a breath of fresh air, I think, just to have open opportunities throughout the week where guys can come in. Okay, if you're not available to come on Thursday, you come to chapel on Saturday night, and if you're in the building on Monday, come in on Monday for 20 minutes. We review what we went over in chapel on Saturday night. It's just been great, and I think it's just a great way to get more guys, to get the word in front of more guys. And we've had a good core group of guys. I know you mentioned, or Jason mentioned, Levi Wallace earlier. He's been a great guy. Matt Barkley's not with us anymore. He was kind of one of those core dudes. And Lorenzo Alexander, I don't know if you guys, I think he's been a PAO maybe a couple times. He's one of the best guys I've ever met, I think, just on and off the field. But no, I mean, it's, Lynn's really done a great job with the team and kind of running the show here. And one of the cool things, the last thing I'll say, one of the cool things that he's done is really put an emphasis on kind of the full course of becoming a Christian. So at the end of the year, we have an opportunity for a baptism. And it's usually whenever the season ends, last couple of years it's been after a playoff game. That sometime that next week he will just pick a day, and he usually covers it kind of towards the end of the season, the last month or so. And a couple guys the past 2 or 3 years that we've had 3, 4, 5 guys come and get baptized at one of our local churches here, and it's just been a great experience to kind of see guys take that next step in their faith. And it's just been a special thing. So I can't say enough about Lynn. He's my guy. He married me, my wife and I. So it's he's got a special place in my heart.
Oh, that is very cool. Hey, speaking of last year and that experience, I mean, you guys were right on the precipice of the Super Bowl, right? You lost in the AFC Championship in Kansas City. Do you feel like that experience for your team, you feel like the experience and the closeness you have is a group of core strong believers as well, do you feel a difference this year through this journey of the season as you push into the divisional round and a rematch in Kansas City from that experience of last year?
Sure. I think it's hard. It's hard to say no. I mean, at any time you have a game like that where you're on the cusp of an opportunity for, what you play for, right? I mean, you go into that game and you say, all right, we win this game, we're going to Tampa, right? To play, whoever, Tampa Bay, I guess they won before we played, but and you're right there on the cusp of it, and it doesn't go the way you wanted. You say, okay, you look back on it. Well, what did we do wrong? What do we, you look at you start micromanaging, you break down, you say, okay, we come back, we play them in KC week 5 or whatever it was this year, and we beat them. Whatever the score was by a couple touchdowns, maybe. And you say, okay, flip the script on them. Feels great. We're we played a better game, got some turnovers, whatever it was. And it's still sticking in the back of your mind because you're like, we're going to see these guys again, right? They're one of the best teams in the AFC. We know we're one of the best teams in the AFC. You're eventually going to end up seeing them further down the road in the playoffs. And I think just getting another chance to go in there and play them again, even though it's a round earlier, it's another opportunity to just go in there and win and kind of take revenge, like we did earlier in the season. So I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for. That's what we're looking at doing. I can't say much more than that, I guess, but to answer your question, it's knowing how our season ended last year and knowing who we were playing and where that was, and knowing we got an opportunity to go there Sunday night, wouldn't want it any other way.
Well, I know you got a bunch of playoff prep. As a long snapper, you got to work through all those plays. Got some trick play possibilities. But this is a cool show because it's the intersection of some faith. And I want to get into your upbringing down there in Georgia, in the Bible Belt, and how that has taken you now to upstate New York. But I do want to ask you some football questions. We don't.
Sure.
I don't get to talk to long snappers a lot in my production meetings for college and pro.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple little quirky questions for you.
Okay.
Long snappers, are they born or are they made?
That's a great question. And the fact that my brother and I both do it, I want to say born. I want to say you're born. I want to say you're born for it.
So it's nature, not nurture, huh? So
I think I don't know. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's. I think it worked out. It worked out too well to have two brothers doing it at the highest level. That's nature. Final answer.
When did you know that you wanted to look through your football life between your legs snapping a ball? When did you know that? It was your destiny.
Living my life upside down. I don't know if I ever said to myself, hey, I want to look through my legs for the rest of my career. I think it was gradual. I think each step presented more challenges and more goals, more long-term goals. Hey, dad always told us when we were younger, we were in high school, the first goal when make varsity, play on Friday night. The next goal, get a scholarship to, get a scholarship, play on Saturday night. The next goal, get picked up, get drafted, whatever it may be, find your way onto a team and play on Sunday night. And like that was, working your way through the weekend. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Like that was what is ingrained in our brains from day one when I picked up a football. I started in 5th grade and I was like not athletic, tight end, like defensive end. I didn't really know what I was doing. At tryouts, they put me over with the quarterback because I was a really good pitcher when I was younger. And I kept throwing all the balls at the receiver's ankles, acting like I was throwing downwards. So they were like, get this guy out of here. He's whatever. But yeah, I mean, I started snapping in 8th grade. The center snapper got hurt. I wasn't playing. I almost quit football after my 7th grade season. My dad was just like, stick with it one more year. Head coach said the same thing. We were super close and, stuck with it. My dad just said, hey, that the kid got hurt. He just said, hey, why don't we give this a shot? Watch some YouTube videos. The senior, I was playing like feeder ball to the high school. The senior that was there at the time had just got a scholarship to Tulsa. So he kind of gave me some pointers, started going to the same camps he went to, got some instruction, and the rest is history. So, yeah. That's it.
If I had a heart rate monitor on your wife and your parents when you snap Sunday night in Kansas City, does their heart rate go up or are they just cool as a cucumber?
I'd like to say cool as a cucumber, but that's a great question. I'd say it's probably, for mom, high as a kite. Dad, probably about half of that. So I think he's a little more cool, calm, and collected than mom when they're in the stands.
And wife?
Yeah, she's probably same as mom. She gets she's really good friends with Tyler Bass, his girlfriend, and Matt Hawk, his girlfriend, are the kicker punter. So the three girls are really close. So they watch all the games together. So they get real into it. It's great to see.
Last long snap, and then I'm going to get to your faith journey and some of the growth you made in that as well. Pitchers today, they can study the spin, right? They get their spin rate on the curveball and their slider. Everything is measured. Do they do the same for long snappers? And if so, do you have it down such a way, Reid, on a field goal that you can get the laces to the holder because you just know the number of revolutions and spin, so he didn't have to spin the laces out? Can you control it that much through your craft?
Yes. I'd say probably 90% of the laces on field goals is the snapper's responsibility. About 10% is on the holder, just to catch it in the right spot every time. To answer your first question, no, but I would love to do that. I'm a huge baseball fan and huge into the analytics side of things. So the spin rate stuff is, ever since that kind of came out a couple years ago, it's so interesting to me to kind of follow that and how pitchers improve from one team to the next based on what pitches and stuff they want to throw more based on the spin rate and stuff. But yeah, super interesting. I would love to hop in some kind of sports science. I don't know if Brinkus does that anymore or not, but I would love to hop in there with him sometime and kind of get the spin rate on a snap. That'd be pretty interesting.
Okay, let's go back to Buford. Let's go back to the Bible Belt where you grew up. First of all, doesn't every good Buford boy go to Georgia? I mean, how do you end up at LSU?
They had some snappers in the pipeline there already. So I can't say, both my parents went to Tennessee. So I can't say that even if they did offer me, I don't know what the chances, I don't know how high the chances would have been that I actually would have went there.
What was life growing up? You mentioned mom and dad. You mentioned your brother who's playing with the Dolphins. So cool to have two brothers playing in the NFL. You grew up in the Bible Belt in that area. Certainly, there's a lot of church and a lot of word that's being preached. What was your process? What was your journey like through high school and into college and now in the NFL in that faith aspect?
Yeah. So from the day I can remember, we were going to First Baptist Church, Alpharetta. Just north of Atlanta, about 45 minutes north of downtown, and went there for the first 15 years of my life. And we moved over to Buford sophomore year of high school, and it was tough for me because I had built such a strong friend group and peer group at First Baptist Church of Alpharetta. Going there, we moved 45 minutes away, and we had to pick another church. And knowing that we were leaving that church, making that decision to move and for football and academics and stuff like that, it was not an easy decision because we were so involved in, Awana growing up, and we had friends from, kind of all over. Alpharetta's a pretty big town, but, just such close friendships, parents too. My dad was a deacon for a large part of my childhood. So he was very involved with the church, my mom as well. So it was tough. And I think it was tough when we moved and kind of tried to join, we joined another church, near Buford. It was called Blackshear Place at the time. I think they've changed names now, but, it was tough because, trying to, as a sophomore in high school, I was trying to, connect with a good friend group, at Buford at a new high school. And also connect with a new friend group at the church, and the church was far enough away to where, nobody from, I think there was maybe one or two people from my school that went to the same church. Cause it was, 20, 25 minutes away, but, it was not easy, and I'll admit that. And I think, that kind of caused me to lean in more on, the FCA part of Buford. And I was pretty big into that. And kind of I ran some Bible studies my junior and senior year for the football team after practice once a week, team prayer, all that kind of stuff. And I think that kind of helped me continue. I kind of built, I'll call them faith friends, build friends in faith through FCA more so than through my church group at the time. Which I felt like that was a good spot for me. I kind of felt that was where I felt comfortable. That was, I was seeing, the same people that I would meet in FCA group once a week, at 6:30 in the morning or, whatever, 6:45 in the morning, for half an hour. I'd see those same people in class that day. Right. So it's that constant, the constant friendship building, whether you're at FCA, whether you're in school, whether you're out on the football field, it's the same group of people that you're building those friendships with. And I'm still friends with those people to this day, 10, 12, 11 years later. So that was that, that was kind of the high school story. Moving on to LSU. That's kind of where it got interesting. The tables turned a little bit for me. I was, I'm 9.5 hours from home. First time living alone. And I think that's the trap that a lot of kids fall in nowadays. I didn't have somebody looking over my shoulder. I didn't have somebody, waking me up on Sunday morning after a Saturday home game and saying, all right, let's go to, let's wake up and go to the 9 a.m. service. Right. It wasn't easy, and I did it. I won't say I was really good. I'd say I was pretty good my first couple years at LSU, my freshman, sophomore year. Definitely not where I wanted to be. As far as, consistent church going, I was pretty checked out of FCA. I felt like the FCA, I felt like some of the people that were going there, and this reflects more on me than it does on my view of the people that were going. I felt like it was just very cliquey at the time. Just a lot of the football guys that were going that I thought were looking out for my best interest, but really not. And I didn't feel like I had a good. I didn't feel like I was kind of wanted by some of the guys that were going. I didn't really feel like it was just I don't know. It was just a weird feeling. Don't mean to harp on it, but at the start of my junior year, I kind of took it upon myself and I said, "This is not where my faith is not where I want to be," and I made that decision. I can't really say what led to it. I don't really remember. What decision in my mind kind of led to me saying that to myself. But, I started going to church pretty much every week. I got reconnected in FCA. I kind of started connecting more with the leadership of the FCA program rather than trying to find solace in some of the athletes that were going there and trying just to navigate my friends, being more being more picky, if you will, with the friendships that I was trying to make, and not making myself believe that the people that had shut me out and kind of turned me off to kind of the faith arena at LSU. I didn't want those people to ruin the whole experience for me, because I knew to myself, I said, I grew up doing this. I made it, I did this through high school. I said, I'm growing up, I'm almost 21. I need to be a responsible adult. This is a learning process. And, I just kind of made a decision, and my junior and senior year, it's basically a 180 flip from the first 2 years at LSU. And then, leading into, my time with the Bills, I went undrafted out of the 2016 draft. They picked me up after the draft. I went kind of through training camp, and got cut on first cut. That was back when they did 3 cut dates. I was cut after the 3rd preseason game. Felt like, I tell this to everybody, I felt like I won the job. The guy that was there was, he had been in Buffalo for 8 years, I think. And I felt like I was good enough, but looking back on it, I definitely am glad that I took the path that I did. So I got cut. I was home for about, 2 months, really. It was pretty much the whole month of September, whole month of October. And on November 1st, the Bills called me back for a practice squad spot, and I stayed there through the rest of the season, signed a futures deal, and became the starter the next year. And here I am now. But the toughest part, I would say, I've kind of hit on Lynn and kind of told that piece of things already. But the one thing that I try to tell people and tell guys in the league and guys I meet, rookies, young guys now that are coming into the league, when I got cut, that was one of the lowest, to me, one of the lowest points of my career, because I thought that I performed well enough to win the job. But I told myself, I knew deep down, I said, I know I'm good enough to play in this league. Whether it's for Buffalo, whether it's for somebody else, whether it's for another team, there's 32 different ways of thinking about the long snapping position. And I said, whether I'm playing in Buffalo for the Bills or whether I'm playing somewhere else, I know I'm good enough for this league. And I pray, and I prayed every day. And prayer was really one of the biggest things that got me through those 2 months. And I know that, looking back on it, 2 months is nothing compared to kind of what some undrafted guys and guys that are kind of fringe guys go through on a yearly basis, sitting at home for a couple months. Like, been there, done that, it sucks. Honestly, it's terrible. And, that's why I try to wake up with an attitude every day of gratefulness, and every day is a blessing, and knowing that it doesn't matter what I do. I could be jobless any day, and I could be back sitting on my couch and packing up my house and moving somewhere, moving home, or moving to another city. It's going to end for somebody. It's going to end for everybody someday. Right. So, and that's just the nature of the business, but not to get too deep in the weeds there, but I just wanted to emphasize, like, those 2 months, my faith and I was living at home with my parents. So, they really supported me. My dad would catch my snaps in the backyard, 2 or 3 times a week. And prayer, being a prayer warrior. I mean, it was a challenging time. Kind of just, I was working odd jobs and stuff and trying to, waiting on a call. And the last thing I'll say, we would drive, my brother was in college at the time. So we would drive down to Baton Rouge for home games, every other weekend or whatever. And we would drive back home on Sunday and we would listen to NFL radio, and I would just be listening, and I'm just listening. I'm like, oh, missed field goal. Oh, is it a bad snap? Oh, what team is that? Oh, what's their situation? That's what I was doing. I was doing that for 2 months, and it's not fun. So I kind of take that into my daily life now, and never take any day for granted.
Well, Reid, this has been fun. My last question for you is, if you get this done Sunday night at Arrowhead in Kansas City in one of the great atmospheres, the Bills get it done because you guys do what?
Protect the ball and score in the red zone.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, looking back.
And perfect snaps.
Perfect snaps.
It gets it all going. I'm sorry, you said as you look back.
I was saying, as you look back to last year, I think that was kind of where we faulted a little bit in the AFC Championship game. I think we had a couple turnovers maybe, and kick more field goals than we wanted to, and didn't score enough touchdowns, which is the name of the game, especially when you're playing high-powered offense like Kansas City. So protect the ball and score in the red zone.
Well, I think I can say 2 things confidently, Reid. I don't think this is the last time we'll ever chat. You may also be the last long snapper to ever come on this show. And I know this.
You got to get my brother on.
You know what? That's a good point. You can tell Blake, you can let him know that we're going to be reaching out to him. But I also know this, that everybody tuning in to this special night, you taking time, playoff week, to join us. Everybody be watching that long snap and watching you Sunday night closer than I think any of us ever have before. So thanks for sharing your heart with us, your journey with us, and continue just success and love for your family and your beautiful wife and your little daughter, and continued success there, brother.
Thank you so much. Yeah, look for the one guy with his butt in the air. That's why you know it's me. That's what my granddad loves to tell everybody, that he goes, look for his butt. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Reid. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Reid Ferguson as much as I did. I never thought of a long snapper seeing the world upside down. But that's exactly how they see the game of football. Let me remind you as well to go to sportspectrum.com, enter the code SLANT20, and you get a 20% discount on an incredible resource. And I'll leave you with this as well. I got a text from my youth pastor that brought me to the Lord way back when in 9th grade. And he said, hey, my son Caleb just saw your week in the 52-week devotional at Sports Spectrum, something my youth pastor way back in the 90s had shared with me, Sports Spectrum. I got a Bible that had devotions and stories and testimonies, and we have a 52-week devotional, another great resource along with the magazine for a small group, maybe for your dinner table, maybe a men's group, family group, whatever it may be. The magazine, sportspectrum.com, you can find the details there on that 52-week devotional as well. Just a tremendous resource, as is this show, which I find a privilege to be a part of each and every week I get to do it. We'll be back next week for episode 21 of Sports Spectrum's Weekly Slant.